Hello, movie patient, and welcome to Film Therapy. I am your host and film therapist, Brienne, also known as Miss Movies, and this is session 3 of Film Therapy. And today we have a very special guest, and that special guest, as you know from the title, is Stacy Howard.
What?
Whoa, welcome to
Hey,
the
hey.
show.
This is interesting because we do a show together, but
We
now
do.
this is your show and I'm like a guest
Yes,
on the
you're actually a
show.
patient. You're
I'm
my
a patient.
patient,
Excuse me. I'm a
just as
patient with a
all of our
with a
other
therapist.
patients are, watching.
Mhm.
They can't be in this room with us, but they are in this room with us. You know what I'm
They
saying?
are.
You
They're a
know what I'm
part of
saying?
this session.
They
I feel
are.
like I should be lounging on like a chaise,
You should.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and be like very relaxed and have like a babbling brook sound with a plant and a leather couch.
That sounds good.
That would be very, very cool. If you could set that up for next time, that would be great.
I will set that up for next time just
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you.
Um, this is Stacy Howard. She is my patient on this episode, and I wanted to, or on this session, and I want you to tell the people, tell the other patients who you are just in case, just by the off chance
Just
that
in
they might
case.
not know who you are. And while you do that, I'm going to bring up the chat so we can see what they're saying.
Okay, sounds good. So, hello, friends. My name is Stacy Howard. I am a film fan. I've been writing about films, watching movies my whole life. Me and Brienne have a show together called 6 Degrees of Feature Film, where we constantly talk about dozens and dozens of movies on each episode and have wonderful guests on. And me and you have been friends for
uh
like a year and a half now,
Maybe almost
maybe almost two.
two. We're
We
getting probably close to two.
yeah, we met through Twitter. You took the initiative one day and messaged me,
I
and I
did.
was like, "Hey, who's this?"
Let's bring
And
you
we,
into the frame
oh,
a little
should
more.
we scoot a
There we
little
go.
bit,
That's great.
get a little closer? And we chatted. We ended up meeting up for something. I can't remember what was our
We
first
went
like
and
event.
saw Tournament of Nerds
Oh,
together.
that's right. So a tournament of
Yes.
nerds. We've gone to see friends do stand up shows. We've gone to different events together. We've been guests on other people's podcasts together. And we've become what I consider good friends,
Yes.
soul sisters, movie
Correct.
soul sisters.
Movie Soul Sisters.
And we have a very, what I love is that our dynamic together, we have very different personalities,
Right?
but we both encourage each other to kind of bring out that side and balance each other out whenever we're having a conversation about film
Correct.
or life in general. So I like that, and I like that I'm doing this today because I feel like we're gonna get to know each other more.
Exactly.
Since we
I'm
haven't,
definitely going to get to know you more.
yeah, yeah, everyone will. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I am
Okay.
excited to
Okay,
kind of
good.
get into why I love movies, how that came about, how I feel about them, and just life in general. I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So on this show, this is a storytelling show. I'm going to be interviewing Stacy with three specific questions about film.
Mhm.
The first question is going to be, what is a film that inspires you? The second question is, what is a film or a scene from a movie that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's a painful memory.
Mhm.
And what is a film that helps you through difficult times? So those are the three questions that we springboard off into discussion on.
Okay.
So everyone is aware that's kind of how this goes. It's a little shorter
Yay.
than other shows.
Mhm.
The other day I tweeted out that other film shows, when they talk about movies, they talk about like the trunk of the tree and the leaves and the branches
Mhm.
and look how beautiful it is. But this show, we talk about the roots of the tree. We get into like how film is important to us.
I like that. I like that a lot.
It's different.
Mhm.
You're
Mhm.
not going to see this. I haven't seen a show like this about film at all. I don't
Me
know if you
either.
have.
Me
Let me
either.
know if you have, because I want to listen to that other show.
The only thing I can liken it to, and I in no means say that we are, we are just like Roger Ebert, but Life Itself, his documentary about why he
Mm-hmm.
loved movies and how that came about.
Mm.
I think that the theme of that is similar to this,
Oh,
in
very
that
exciting.
movies are the the surface, but then everything else about why he loved movies was beneath that. So hopefully we can
Awesome.
get into that today.
All right. Well, let's start with our first question, which is,
Okay.
what is a film that inspires you?
Okay, so for this one, a lot of people, I think the word inspire can be up for interpretation as well. So sometimes you can see a film and inspires you to be a filmmaker. I guess that's what
Mhm.
some people think the word inspire means when it comes to films. But to me, like, I don't really want to make films, but whenever I watch a movie, I want it to inspire me in emotion. I want it to inspire me in life. I want it to inspire me to go out and do something or feel something or have some kind of reaction, maybe not necessarily that it has to do with the film industry, but just something in general. So I
Right.
remember me and all my um, dance buddies going to see Chicago when we were younger. It came out in 99, so I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I was so inspired by this film. I remember dancing through the aisles and singing and wanting to be on a stage like that or wanting to dance like that. I mean, everything is full of life and chaos in it and
Right.
fun and intensity, and it's kind of dangerous and sexy. And it made me realize that there are incredibly artistic people out there that create different kinds of films. And so this was like a Broadway musical that was thrust up onto the screen in front of us. And just the way they shot everything and the confessionals and the different musical numbers he had it come in, everything, I was like, this is art. This is beauty. Like, this is something incredible. It just really
Mhm.
inspired me to be, and I love singing, dancing, acting. I'm not a professional in any of that sense, but I like doing all those
You like
things. I
performing.
like performing, and it was a big part of my life when I was younger. Not so much now. Now I'm just more of an observer and a commentator on it. But
Mhm.
it just inspired me to go out there and leap into the abyss. I don't know if that
Because
makes
at
sense, but
9, were you performing or just doing recitals or
yeah, I was
competitions or
performing.
anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah. We did recitals, we did competitions. I did competitive dance since I was like 3 years old. I took dance lessons. I taught dance growing up. It was a huge part of my every single weekend was a convention or a competition, or my whole life revolved around
Mhm.
dance as well as 4-H, which
Right.
which is showing livestock animals. Or that's a small part of it, but that's what people mainly know 4-H for. So that's interesting that I have those two kind of big things in my life were like agriculture and livestock and also competitive dance.
Right.
But yeah, that was every weekend was I went to like a stock show or a dance convention or competition, and all my friends were dancers growing up, and those are my best friends. I didn't really
Mhm.
have a lot of friends at school, so my dance studio was really important to me. So
Right.
Chicago just inspired me to be big and loud and colorful and out there with the red lips and everything. So yeah, Chicago, it created a feeling in me. It didn't inspire me to become a dancer or anything. It's not what I really wanted to do professionally, but it inspired me to go out and find that great performance, that great
Right.
creativity, whatever's inside of you. It inspired me to kind of leap towards it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that as well.
Mm-hmm.
While you were talking about Chicago, I had thought like it brought memories to a time, something that happened with me. I went and saw, this is very strange, but I went and saw Mark Ellis perform stand up. This was a few years ago, like
Mm-hmm.
really early on, before when the Schmoes had like 30,000
Yeah.
subscribers
Mm-hmm.
on their YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing him in stand up and thinking like, "Oh my gosh, he's really good."
Mm-hmm.
And like the way that the audience was reacting to him and everything, and I thought, "Wow, he's a really good performer." And then I got really like depressed because I was like, "This I no longer am on the stage. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't dance anymore." This was right after all that, and I
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my podcast, which was Miss Movies Minute at the time,
Right. Right.
and I just I was talking to Christian Harloff about this on a podcast, and I said I just feel like the lights are out now, and it made me really sad to realize that that was the
Mm-hmm.
time that I realized it. Watching him on stage was the time that I realized the lights are out. And Christian said to me, and I'll never forget this. He said, "But they're not out. They're not out for you.
Right.
That's because you're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So it's not."
Right.
And I didn't realize that like you're right.
Yeah.
Like
This is our stage.
this is the stage.
Hey everyone!
but it
Really
took me a
though.
while to realize, like, I didn't realize that, and I just so thank you, Christian, for
Oh, that's
making
nice.
me remember things like that.
Mhm.
And then for a while, I went from that podcast to not having anything,
Mhm.
and that was like a big void for me. So when we started doing 6 Degrees of Feature Film, like,
Mhm.
I felt like, okay, I'm back. I'm back
Right.
in the lights, not necessarily really because it's such a small show and it's not like that's not what it's about though. Like
Right.
it's about the audience
Yeah.
and it's about and if there's only 2 of you, it doesn't matter. It's about
Yeah,
you
we just
guys.
like doing this. If no one listened to us, I would still do this every week. I
That's
drive. For
true.
those of you that don't know, honestly though, I live like an hour away from Brienne. I
It's a
drive
long
every
drive.
week to see her. I'll come up in like the early morning so we can do an early show. That way she can pick up her kids. Like, and to me, it's worth it. And we don't make money from this. We don't have a fan base or anything. We have a few people that appreciate what we do, and that's so wonderful. And thank you guys for watching. But
Yes. Thank
for
you.
us, it's like we just like talking about movies. We like talking with each other. We like that we go to events together and we're like, yeah, we have a little show, but we would love to talk about your show. Like we've gone on other people's podcasts that are way more popular than ours. And we feel so honored that we can just kind of be included in that. And we
Right.
just like that we do this. It gives us something to look forward to every week. And if it could become bigger and a bigger audience, I guess, but that's not what it's about. It's not about that. We've never cared
Mhm.
about the numbers. We don't have numbers to care about, really.
We do.
It's
I
like,
see them, but
yeah, we have a few. I mean, my mom
it's
watches. If
great.
I
Hey,
send her the
mom.
YouTube link, she doesn't really know how YouTube works. She doesn't know how to subscribe. But I mean, like we just like doing it, and we do it for
Mhm.
ourselves, and we do it for our friends, and the fact that we get to do fun things like went on. We've been on the concession stand a bunch. We've been on action movie anatomy, stuff
Right.
with Screen Junkies, stuff with Schmoes, and we're so proud that we can just do it and have fun and just be friends together talking about film.
And it all starts with Chicago.
It all starts with
And those types of
Chicago.
inspirations. But I do want to say
Mhm.
thank you to those that are in the chat right now that I can see your name specifically: Randall Sands, Mark Tordai, Michael Atkinson. I hope I said that right. Eric Monroe, all of our friends. Thank you so much for being here and being supportive. So we love you guys. Okay,
Oh, love
uh,
you guys. Thank you. Hi,
let's go. And Janine, hi Janine.
Janine.
Let's go on to our second question
Okay,
if we're ready to close this one up.
of
The
course.
second question is: what is a film or a scene from a film or a movie that triggers a memory? Perhaps it's a painful memory, or maybe it's a happy memory. I'm not sure.
Well,
We'll
it's
see.
gonna be a painful memory. So for me, the scene in Mean Girls, whenever Caddy doesn't know anyone the first day of school, and she takes her
Katie.
lunch. Caddy. Oh shit! Did I just say Caddy? Katie takes her lunch into the bathroom because she doesn't want to sit by herself.
Hmm.
That was me my first like 3 years of high school. Like I
Really?
didn't have as, and I guess this goes back to, we have to go back, years and years ago when I was younger, all the time, like this. Bring it back here, Stacy. I didn't grow up with a close group of friends. I didn't grow up with a best friend really. We moved around a lot when I was little, and we didn't really settle in a town until I was like 12. And at that age, we didn't belong to a church. We're not like a very religious family. And being in, a smaller town in Texas, you have to be a member of a church, and that's where all your friends come from. So for
Right.
me, I just didn't have a close group of friends, girlfriends or guy friends, anything like that. So I never felt like I had a place in high school, really. And a way that I made up for that, or at least tried to, was that I was very active in all kinds of activities. Like I said, I did
Hmm.
dance, and I had close friends at dance, but they were a little younger than me, and they also went to a different school because it was like different city limits. Um, I, I joined like student council, I did 4 H, I did, you know, National Honor Society, choir, anything I could think of that was like, okay, what can get me kind of a guaranteed group of friends? But I didn't have that growing up. And I always look back on that and regret, and think I just didn't have that solid foundation of what it's like to have relationships with people. And I always felt so alone. And so like I don't have anyone in my life that I can confide in. And my parents were wonderful, my brother was wonderful. We were a close family, but I just didn't have that that sense of security in school where you have
Right.
at least two or three friends. You know, most people have at least two or three where they can kind of have someone where if they're in a room at school assembly and you want to sit with your friends, you can at least find one or two of them, you know, and
Mhm.
sit down. And I didn't have that
Yeah.
ever. So it wasn't really until my junior and senior year when I joined the dance team, and also in choir we had we our choir was huge. We were like, you know, state competition winners and everything. Huge choir, hundreds and hundreds of kids. We had a little ensemble class that we did. And so it was like the juniors and seniors had a little ensemble class, and you would go and like sing at nursing homes and stuff like that. So from that, I finally gained two friends. Vanessa and Margaret Ann were my friends starting my junior year. And then going to senior year, I finally had someone to sit down and eat lunch with. And I remember that being a big deal. And I remember I had to ask them if that was okay. Like I
Mm.
remember I was really nervous because I used to, when I was younger, like freshman and sophomore year, I wouldn't sit down for lunch. I wouldn't eat lunch at school. I would get a lunch or I would get like a snack or something like that. And I would just wander around campus, or I would go to the library and I would sit down and like, you know, read a book or do my homework or something because I didn't have anyone to sit with. And I was so, I'm like about to cry right now. I was like so embarrassed that I didn't have, I felt like I didn't have anyone in my life, you know? So once I got oh sorry guys, once I got a little older, junior and senior year, that got better because I had joined the dance team, and I kind of made sure that I had at least people to sit with, but I had to ask them. I was like, hey, I know you guys have the same lunch with me. Where do you guys sit? Do you think it'd be okay if I like sat down with you? And they were like, yeah, of course. Like they thought it was
Mhm.
ad that I was asking permission, you know? But I remember being very nervous all the time at lunch because I didn't have friends to sit with. And I felt so like that was the one day or time of day where I was like, this sucks being me. Like I just don't have a friend group, you know? And
Yeah.
it was awful. It was terrible. And it was that moment where she realizes she's all alone and she sits down. I always cry at that moment because I was like, that was me, you know?
Mhm.
And it's gotten for those who maybe have experienced something like that in high school or don't feel like they have a group of friends, I it feels like so awful in the moment. But when I graduated and I went off to college, I was like, I'm gonna change my life. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
be that way anymore. I'm not gonna fear, you know, not having this like solid group of girlfriends. I'm going to create one for myself. I'm going to go out, I'm going to do it. And so I graduated college. I joined a sorority immediately because that's a great way to have a solid group of permanent friends, guaranteed friends. Some people judge
Right.
that. I don't care. That's what I needed to do to learn how to be social, to learn how to have those relationships
Mhm.
with people, to, you know, learn how to be outgoing. Or it wasn't that I wasn't outgoing because I am shy. I am like or I'm self-conscious. I'm nervous inside, but I'm a loud person. So I might be loud, but I am self-conscious and shy about being loud. So if I know that that's that may not make sense, but yeah, when I
You
graduated, I
still
was like,
yeah.
I'm going to change my life. I'm not going to be that way anymore, and I haven't been since. And I have a great group of, you know, in college I had a great group of girlfriends. After college, I moved to California, didn't know anybody. I have a great group of girlfriends now that I met through my college alumni association and like through guys and their girlfriends, and I have a solid group of friends, thank God. But I had to work towards that. It's not something that came naturally to me. It's not something that I grew up with. So it was really, really hard for me when I
Mhm.
was younger because I didn't have, you don't have a best friend. I didn't have anyone to have like sleepovers with or go to parties or, you know, it just wasn't, it, I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes from the environment I grew up in, and then my feeling was a little different and they viewed us as different. But yeah, that scene in Mean Girls was just really indicative of what, or just reminds me so much of what I dealt with when I was younger.
Did you eat lunch in the bathroom?
Not in the bathroom, but I
Okay.
would go outside and eat lunch.
Okay.
Like there was
On
like
the
a little courtyard
grass.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So you had a cafeteria that you ate
We had a
lunch in.
cafeteria that
Okay.
everyone ate lunch in, so I wouldn't eat in there. I would get food and then I would like leave because I didn't have a table to sit at. Like I didn't have people to sit with.
Okay.
So rather than sitting by myself, I would like make excuses like, oh, I have to go to the library to do homework, or oh, I just need to grab something. I have to go talk to my counselor. But I didn't, there was nowhere to
Right.
be, you know, I
Right.
just would wander around because
Mhm.
I didn't want everyone to see that I was alone. There's
Hmm.
nothing more awkward than like sitting alone in a high school cafeteria.
Sure.
Now as an adult it's fine because who cares? Who gives a
Right.
shit? I go to restaurants all the time by myself. I'll have wine. I go to movies by myself all the
Right.
time. And I have a boyfriend now. I have friends. Like everything's fine now. But then high school is your whole little world and you don't
Yeah.
want
High
people
school is rough.
high school's rough. You don't want people to know.
We
So
didn't have a cafeteria. We just had a quad area. And I
oh.
never had like a group of specific friends. Like I was on dance team all 4 years, but I never
Mhm.
had like a very specific, like, I'm going to eat lunch with you and only you. I
Mhm.
would like go around to different like groups of friends and
Yeah.
eat lunch with them.
Yeah.
Um, it took me a while to realize like I really didn't have friends
Mhm.
because of that, because I wouldn't like settle in with a certain group, but
Mhm.
I don't know, I kind of liked everyone, but at the same time, like,
See, I didn't have multiple group of friends though. Like
yeah.
I didn't have anyone to sit with really. Or if
Mm,
I did think that they maybe would sit with me, I would be too scared to ask them.
right.
But I kind of like I said, once you spend time with people in class a little more, as I got into like my junior and my senior year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure out when they have lunch, and if I have lunch at the same time, I'm gonna try and like talk to them right before the bell rings, and then hopefully if we walk together, they'll let me sit with them. Like at every single day, lunchtime was caused me the most anxiety in school
Mm,
because it was always who am I going to sit with? Can I
yeah.
find a group of friends to sit with? Am I going to be alone again? Like every day caused me so it was the most worrisome part of my day. Every day I was like what's going to happen at lunch?
So what
I
would you
dreaded
say to
lunch.
someone that is going through this right now?
Well, number one, you're not alone. Number two, it gets better. Number three, if you feel like you don't have friends in high school, you probably do have people that would be friendly to you. It's okay to make a plan. I guess for me my plan was okay, if I talk to this and this person, and like I said, like if I kind of maneuver my way and we're like talking to each other in lunch line, if I just maybe invite myself, maybe they'll let me. So I
Mhm.
kind of I had to make a plan and I had to like ask them. And most people are nice enough to be like, hey, do you want to sit with us today? But that was what caused me the most anxiety, was like I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know who my friends were, who I could sit with. So
Right.
just know that it's not going to be a big deal now or later in life. Who no one high school doesn't matter. It matters when you're in it, but once you're out of it, you never remember. And I don't remember anything from
Right.
high school besides that. Like I don't remember what guy I liked or what girl was mean to me, or it doesn't matter now. I haven't talked to anybody from high school since,
Mhm.
not a single person. There's like two of the girlfriends that we kind of keep up with on social media, and they'll send me a message every now and then, but I don't, you know, it doesn't matter to me anymore, but it
Of
mattered
course.
so much then and it affected me so much then.
It does.
But I think it shaped my life, from then on, because it taught me that, you have to just be your own person and do your own thing. And if you have people that are nice to you and that are, treat you well, those are your friends, and be kind to them too. You
Mhm.
don't need anyone in your life that's not going to support you, not going to let you sit with them at the table,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
So Mean Girls.
Yeah, Mean Girls. Mhm.
Wouldn't have guessed that Mean Girls would have a scene that could create, like, bring up emotion like
Mhm.
that. But
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
me, it would be the shoe getting hit at the guy on the stage when he's singing. I'm like,
Oh.
ah, yeah, those moments when you're like in front of people and they're just all
Did you
a-holes.
ever perform
Well,
like
of
that?
course.
Oh, I
I
know
mean,
you
no one threw a
performed,
shoe
but
at me,
no one threw a shoe at
but
you.
you get those feelings of
Yeah. No one's
people
gonna want to
making fun of
listen to
you.
me sing, or no one wants to watch me dance. No one
Right.
cares about my solo to Colorblind by the Counting
Ah.
Crows.
All right, so let's get into our third and final question.
Okay.
Our third and final question is, what is a film that helps you through difficult times?
This one I chose slightly happier because it just makes me feel good. It's such a well made movie. Every scene is so gorgeous, and the dialogue and the setting and the music and everything about this film I love. And I remember being sick from school one day. I was home and this came on like HBO or something, and I was like, "Oh, I've never seen this movie. Let me watch it." And I was just like, this movie is so incredible. It just makes me feel warm inside when I watch it. Pride and Prejudice, the Keira Knightley
Okay.
version. I don't know what it is. And it certainly isn't as popular as other films of that year, but to me it's just it's there's not really a message of the film other than the fact that you have this little world of women that society says that they're going to be defined by their marriage and by how successful they are in finding a husband, but they don't want to give into those pressures and they kind of want to do what they want to do and follow their hearts. And I liked that. I was very inspired by that, and there's so many incredible like monologues in it, like when he
Hmm.
confesses that he first loves her and it's raining, they're under like the gazebo thing, and at the end when he is like walking down the hill to the beautiful sweeping music, and there's so many little funny moments and moments among the sisters, and I guess it makes me feel good because I didn't have sisters growing up, and so I wish that I had that bond that these sisters have, and they're all so
Hmm.
close and they feel like such a family. And I like I said, I felt like I didn't have that growing up, and I'm not close with my older brother really, or not in that sense where I could confide in him. We're very very different personality wise, so yeah, I kind of look at that and think that's a lovely family. I would love to be in that kind of family, and it just makes me feel good. And it's a movie I can
Right.
watch over and over and over again, and it's so well made, and it just is wonderful.
That's directed by Ang Lee, I think.
Oh gosh, I think
Maybe someone can fact check me on that. I
someone fact
believe
check
he
me.
did do a Pride and Prejudice. I believe it's the Keira Knightley
Okay,
version.
let's go with that. It makes
Okay.
sense though because the movie is gorgeous and
Hmm.
everyone in it is so well cast. And um the guy that plays Mr. Collins, like her cousin that she's, pretty much her mom's gonna like force her to marry
Hmm.
because she doesn't really have a lot of other prospects. I love that actor. He's so hysterical and he's so just awkward and like perfect in this role. So he always makes me laugh a lot. And Matthew, whatever his last name is, who plays Mr. Darcy, is so perfect. And I haven't seen him in a whole lot after this movie, but he is an incredible. I mean, he's very, very charismatic in this one. Not charismatic because the character of Mr. Darcy is not supposed to be charming in any way. He's kind of an asshole, um, but he's shy in his own sense, and he has to kind of come out of his shell to show Lizzie that he loves her. And he is just, I just fell in love with him in the movie, and I always pictured myself like when I was younger, and I was like, who's the kind of man I'm going to end up with? It was always kind of a shyer guy, like because I'm loud
Sure.
and I
You
want
got to have
that.
the
You gotta
balance.
have the balance. So I was pictured an adorable, more shy guy that likes me and my personality, and I kind of bring out the outgoing side of him, and he kind of calms me down. And I always pictured that balance. So I was pictured like a shy, kind of quirky, adorable little nerd type
Hmm.
guy, and so
Right.
Mr. Darcy is that kind of guy. So I always watch it and think, oh, I want to love like that. I want a relationship like that.
Aw.
So yeah, it just makes me feel good to watch it, and it's my one of my favorite movies ever, and favorite movies to watch if I'm just want to have a lazy Sunday or something.
And
So
who doesn't?
who doesn't? Who
I'd
doesn't
like
like
to
to?
have one
Yeah,
sometime.
yeah. You need to take off a sun. You need to take off on a Sunday
I know it's
someday.
really hard with kids. I need someone to take them so I can have that lazy
Can you
Sunday.
sleep until like noon ever or no?
I don't know. I don't
Oh
know. I did have
gosh.
better sleep last night, so I'm thankful
Good,
for that.
good, good.
But I need some more of that better sleep. But
Okay,
we'll see. We'll
okay.
see.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Stacy,
Thank
for
you for having me.
being on this session of film therapy. Where can the other patients find you?
You can find me on Twitter at SOHoward2012. You can find me on Instagram at Stacy O. Howard, and you can find us together on our show, 6 Degrees of Feature Film, talking about movies. Right
Yes.
after this new episode,
Right
right
after
after, literally right
this.
after, we're gonna hit
That's right.
pause and start a new video and just do it again.
Yeah, probably 12:30 I'm thinking. We'll take a little break,
Oh yeah,
maybe just a little break,
yeah.
and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll start this back up at 12:30 for those that are watching live.
Hooray!
For our one viewer that's now watching live. Hey, one viewer.
Yay!
That's all we need. That's
Lots
all
of
we
comments
need.
though. We're gonna read the comments after this. Sorry we weren't reading them live, but I chatted too much.
But that's
Obviously.
what this is about.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
So thank you. Oh, you can find me at Miss Movies
Oh yeah.
as well. Sorry, on
Okay.
Twitter.
Hmm.
That's where I am. That's my home.
Hooray!
Hooray.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
I'll see you next time at our next film therapy
Ooh, time.
session.
Woo!
Oh, you know what I
I'm
thought? I
tired.
thought a good way to close this up would be
Oh, what?
Dr. Seuss's quote, "Don't be sad that it's over, smile that it happened," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Don't cry that it's over, smile that it
Sorry that didn't
happened. I
happen.
got to I got to get the quote exactly right. But anyways. Bye.
Bye,
Till
guys.
next time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.